I guess I just, I mean, you're welcome.
Here's your hosts of the MonsterCast, the Straight Edge Monster Jack and Ryan.
Hello everybody, welcome to Predictions Sure to Be Wrong by yours truly, the Straight Edge Monster Jack and Ryan, the co-host for the MonsterCast. Now, Elimination Chamber is February 18th, Saturday night. And of course, this is the last brutal stop to the road to WrestleMania. 16 tons of steel or whatever the fuck it is. Where people will be locked in this new, safe, little tyke play school version of the Elimination Chamber compared to the 2002 version. But whatever. It still annoys me, obviously. But we got 4 matches we have to predict. As you can see, Ryan is not only the prediction champion in 2023, he is also the Monster Quiz champion. If you don't know what the Monster Quiz is, check us out every week, every Sunday live on Twitch. The link will be in the description below. Obviously, this is obviously YouTube. And we also post the Monster Quiz questions as their own separate videos on YouTube. So you can just go and search Monster Quiz on here too if you want. But thanks for everybody's support. So far, our YouTube has been doing really well. All things considered, from where we started at on my old YouTube, where I just had a pish-posh mishmash thing of fucking like all this stuff, right? I just had all this stuff in the thing, same thing, and it was, the algorithm was not being very kind to us. So I decided, I didn't want to, but I decided to go ahead and make our own separate YouTube channel, and it's been doing very well. So I'm kind of happy that I went that route. So anyway, you can just search Monster Quiz on our show. Thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel, and if you haven't already, please consider it. Now, let's get into Elimination Chamber. First, before we get up with the matches, I do, because there's only 4 matches, and this show's already going to be very short because there's only 4 matches, I do need to ask you your hype levels for Elimination Chamber. I believe you said, if I remember correctly, I don't know for sure, but I want to say 7.5, 7 is what you said for Royal Rumble. So what are your hype levels going into Elimination Chamber?
For everything except for the main event, 0. I don't give a shit about any of this. Having the Elimination Men's match being for the United States Championship, because the world title picture already has like a clear set line that everybody's following, it kind of kills a lot of it for me, because the US title doesn't really mean that much. The women's one, the way that they picked who was going to be in it and the intent of it is kind of, I don't care. I imagine Asuka's going to win it if they really want to book something interesting anyways, so there's not really a whole lot to think about there. You're not going to have Carmella in the fucking main event of WrestleMania. Asuka just did her whole Kana re-imaging thing. I don't see this going any other way except for that, so that kind of kills some of the hype for me. I know I'm already getting into predictions, but just as far as like excitement level and why it's not there, the predictability of all of it just kind of kills it, and I don't care about the outcome of the tag team match, so really that leaves the Sami Zayn Roman Reigns thing, which I am pretty excited for, just to see what they do with it, because there are several avenues they can go with it to get to the same point. We all know what point it's going to get to, but we don't know how. So overall, like for the entire pay-per-view, like a 4. But out of that 4, 10 out of 10 of that is one match. So that's why it's so low.
Okay, so I'm a little bit more hyped just because I'm having another get-together. The Royal Rumble one went really well for me. We had a lot of fun. Had the one guy, the outsider Robert, who doesn't really watch wrestling. It's been a long time since he did watch it. Even when he did watch it, it was very hit and miss, basically, I should say. He knows like the main guys. He knows who a Rey Mysterio is. He knows who the Undertaker is. Like he knows the bigger names or whatever. But it's been a long time, so his first foray back into it was Royal Rumble, and we had a lot of fun. He's actually the one that won the Johnny Gargano autograph from winning the men's Royal Rumble, because he picked Cody out of the hat. So he's coming back over. Michael's coming back over. We're going, that's 8-Bit Hobo Farmer and Belly Nash, for those of you who don't know, on Twitch. They're coming over. We're going to have some fun. I don't know if he's ever actually seen an Elimination Chamber match, so the spectacle of just seeing an Elimination Chamber match would be kind of cool for him, probably. I think the Elimination Chamber match, for us viewing at home, is a lot better than people viewing it live.
That reminds me.
Go ahead.
That does remind me, when Danny, a really, really, really long time ago, when you were having one of the things at the house, Danny came over with me one night, and it was Royal Rumble. And it was like the first wrestling she'd ever seen. So we watched Royal Rumble, and she saw the Royal Rumble match where people get thrown over the top and they lose. And then the next thing we watched, somebody got thrown over the top just as like in the course of a singles match, and she was confused how the match was still going. So like, It's interesting to have Elimination Chamber be so early for somebody. I feel like just as like a specialty match or whatever. But
Well, luckily Robert didn't ask me why that happened.
Yeah.
In between Rumble matches or whatever. Well, also I think it helps that he has to listen to me and Michael talk about wrestling pretty much every night of the week while we're at work too. So that he might have a better grasp on what's going on. But anyway, it should be fun. So that makes my hype level a little bit better. Just like I said about the Royal Rumble, my hype was a little bit higher than yours just because I was having my first get together since I've moved here. So so I got that going on for me. But I would say my hype level probably a 6. It's pretty low for an Elimination Chamber. I'm hyped to see what they do with Asuka. I want to see if they actually let her like literally eliminate everybody Shayna Baszler style and Brock Lesnar style, or if she even wins the match, because I feel like it's a huge mistake if she doesn't win, which we'll get into later. And then of course the other Elimination Chamber match, I think it has quality talent in it. It's just not something I'm hyped up for because I'm just not hyped up for an Austin Theory US title match, right? You know what I'm saying? So like this is probably the most ever I'll be hyped up for it just because it's got the Elimination Chamber attached to it, but it's not helping me to get to the point of anything like 7, 8, 9, 10 hype levels for this pay-per-view. But it still should be fun for everybody that's going to come over and do this. Also, we're going to play my created board game again, but this time we're going to do it Dungeons and Dragons style. So if you don't know, I made up my own wrestling board game long time ago. It's very in-depth, very complicated. Took an old Risk board, spray painted it black, put my own spaces on it, got 2 decks of cards, got all these things. I got all these different like Dungeons and Dragons dice stuff and all this stuff. And we're going to do it Dungeons and Dragons style this time. Now, I won the board game at Royal Rumble, which was pretty cool because I don't usually win at my own parties, so it was pretty awesome that I won. But this time, we're going to reset everything. We're going to do it. But at the end of the board game, whenever we get together for WrestleMania, assuming that WrestleMania is the next one that we get together for, we're going to play it again, but we're going to have everything written down that where we left off type deal. So whoever is the champion coming out of this will start as the champion for the next Road to WrestleMania, which is the name of the game, Road to WrestleMania. Everything is every time you play the game is a simulated year in WWE. So the next time we play, all your HP will be saved. Whatever HP you had left over will be saved. So you have to think about the future as well. Is basically what I'm getting at. Because if you start the next game, if you ended this game right here at Elimination Chamber with no HP, you're going into the next year as no HP. You're fucked, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I think it's going to be fun. We're all excited to play it like that. So we got that going on for us. Of course, we'll have pizza and some snackage, and of course Elimination Chamber going on as well. And then maybe another post show with me and 8-Bit Hobo Farmer. We'll see. And if you want to get in on that, possibly you as well. I mean, I don't think it's going to be that big of a pay-per-view to need 3 people to talk about it. Unless something really crazy happens with the Roman match, obviously, which we'll get into. But there will be a post show of some sort, I'm sure. But there's only 4 matches. We're going to get into the matches right now.
There are 5, but they just haven't done the contract signing for one yet.
All right,
but Lashley versus Lesnar is supposed to be on the show.
Lashley and Lesnar, okay. So we'll start with that then. Let's start with that. Lashley and Lesnar. Clearly they've been feuding back and forth for a while. Lashley is the one that eliminated Lesnar out of the Royal Rumble and pissed Lesnar off a lot. So now they're fighting at Elimination Chamber. I believe, what is it? Lashley's up. In Lashley's head, he's up 2-1 because he eliminated him at Royal Rumble. But technically they're 1-1 in actual matches.
Lesnar beat him at Crown Jewel for I don't remember what.
All right, so it's 1-1, and then in Lashley's mind, it's 2-1. So even if that's accurate, I do think that Lesnar wins here. But if they're going to fight again at WrestleMania, that's where the issue lies, because Lesnar's not losing at WrestleMania, right? So wouldn't it make more sense for Lashley to beat him here, and then they fight again at WrestleMania, and then Lesnar win there?
Maybe. The whole thing's weird to me. They're 2 guys that I feel like the company views. They obviously don't view them equally, but they book them relatively equally. And having Lesnar go over at the end of the last Raw, basically giving him the 2 F5s and all that, and then this week they're going to do a contract signing. I feel like you'll probably be able to tell who they plan on going over based on who gets the better of who whenever this contract signing eventually breaks down into whatever brawl it's going to break down into, because they always do. But for now, it does seem like the direction they're going in is to have Lashley win and then have some weird shit where they end up maybe wrestling again at WrestleMania. So just depends on how this gets booked. I have Lashley winning this, though. The way that they've been booking this whole thing out, it kind of makes sense. And you don't want to set up, like you were saying, I don't think Lesnar is going to be like, yeah, I'll lose at WrestleMania to Lashley based on the matches that they've had previous. So have Lashley winning this, but then something else down the road where Lesnar wins. Probably WrestleMania.
All right, so could you see a scenario where this is the official regrouping of the Hurt Business, and that's why Lashley wins?
Yeah, maybe, because they already did have Shelton and Cedric together with MVP winning their tag team match. So yeah, probably, maybe.
All right, I'm gonna go Lashley here too, just because I do feel like Lesnar's not gonna lose at WrestleMania if they get together. So I think it makes more sense for Lashley to win this time and then piss off Lesnar even more. Because even though Lesnar said all he could think about was Lashley and was kind of pissed off, he was still doing it in a joking way. But I think if Lashley beats him again, that's when he's gonna get turned into, the Beast, Brock Lesnar, and turn into some fucking just raged animal going into WrestleMania and just destroy Lashley and the rest of the Hurt Business if that's the avenue that they choose to take. Which I think kind of sucks for the Hurt Business if you get right back together and then Lesnar takes you all out at WrestleMania, but whatever. I mean, at WrestleMania, you're playing to the general population because WrestleMania is so regarded, kind of like the Super Bowl type deal. So,
Yeah, but they don't have to do that. They could have it in a cage match or something where they can't get in, they can't interfere.
That'd be cool. I'd like to see that. That'd be cool if that was like the blow-off match or whatever. All right. So that's the first match. We both got Lashley for that. All right. Next up, we'll go Edge and Beth Phoenix against the Judgment Day, who will be Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. This is the mixed tag that we thought we were going to get at WrestleMania a few months back, but because Rhea won the Royal Rumble,
Right.
she's going to fight Charlotte at WrestleMania instead, so I guess they had to push this to Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. And that also introduces an additional complication in it too, because you don't want the person who you're going to have on your next pay-per-view in a championship match and probably going to win lose in a mixed tag match to somebody that's technically not really wrestling anymore, and a guy who's probably going to retire within like the next year. So if this were WrestleMania, I would 100% say Beth Phoenix and Edge go over, because they would want to have that moment where Beth Phoenix wins and Edge gets his revenge on the Judgment Day turn from forever ago that they've been dragging out this whole time. But with it happening here and them needing to keep Rhea looking strong and them not necessarily wanting to put Beth over her with everything she's got coming up, I think Judgment Day probably wins here.
I'm going to go Edge and Beth Phoenix, and simply because I don't want to see this again. I think the match will be good. I just don't like the storyline to get there. I think
it seems like they booked
I think Edge pins Balor, and then we don't have to have the conversation about Rhea not looking strong going into WrestleMania. Maybe.
It does seem like the way that they were plotting this out was to have this happen at WrestleMania and Edge and Beth to go over. If they keep that, they'd have to do a really good job making Rhea look strong and Balor look weak for this to work. I don't know. There's ways to do it, but I think it would be bad. I don't think it looks good for Ripley.
All right, let's do. So we're different on that one. Let's go the women's Elimination Chamber match, and whoever wins gets to fight Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. It's Asuka versus Liv Morgan versus Nikki Cross versus Raquel Rodriguez versus Natalya versus the returning Carmella. I have Asuka here. I think it's pretty easy to. I mean, who doesn't want to see Asuka versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania, right? So I think that would be really cool. I can see an argument for Carmella just because she just came back, but with Asuka's return at Royal Rumble under this new kind of light gimmick that they got going on, I don't see how Asuka loses here.
I don't either. I've also got Asuka. And if you think about the other people in the match, in a headline WrestleMania match for the Raw Women's Championship, Liv Morgan versus Bianca. Not really. Nikki Cross versus Bianca. No. Doesn't sell tickets.
And
Raquel,
the other
she's
show,
on-
the other show, which we're doing a prediction show on as well, Battle in the Valley, they have Kyrie versus Sasha Banks. So this is their own version. This is Asuka versus
Right.
Bianca Belair.
Yeah. And so you've got Raquel, who's honestly on her way up. She's a lot better than she used to be. She's pretty good, but it's still not like a main event WrestleMania match yet. Natalia, I think I wouldn't hate to see, but they don't see her like that. They just don't. It's not going to happen. And then Carmella, even though she just got back, they're going to do this. She just got back, but then she loses because it's a multi-person match, and she probably gets double teamed or whatever, and loses, and it's not her fault. It doesn't look bad in defeat. So I don't see any other outcome for this except for Asuka winning and going to the main event at WrestleMania, or its co-main event, I imagine.
All right.
And
So
probably winning there.
That was
So,
an easy one. Let's do the other Elimination Chamber match for the United States Championship. Austin Theory is the champion. He's going against Seth freaking Rollins versus Gargano versus Bronson Reed versus Damian Priest versus Montez Ford. Now, I'd love to see Bronson Reed here win. I think Seth Rollins doesn't win because then he has the same storyline going in. Like they're already kind of teasing that he's not going to have a WrestleMania match, and then of course he'll go against Logan Paul, which is what I'm assuming is going to happen because Logan Paul's the one that eliminated him at Royal Rumble. But I'm actually just going to say Austin Theory here is going to win, honestly.
I have Bronson Reed. So
Nice.
in a recent interview, he was talking about the sort of like him being hurt that they had let him go in the middle of what he felt like was him getting bigger, growing prominent, whatever. And then after all his New Japan stuff, he gets the win over Okada in the G1. He reaches out to Hunter and says, "Hey, like my contract here is up soon. Do y'all have anything for me?" And Hunter like apparently immediately jumped on it. Was like, "Yes, absolutely. We've got stuff for you. There's stuff we want to do with you. Let's get you back in. I can get you back in. Call me," like all that shit. So he feels like he went away, proved himself, and then got an offer to come back that made him feel like he was going to be taken seriously and they had stuff for him to do and he was going to be used prominently. And I feel like the U.S. title is a good spot for him where he's at right now. And with them having just brought him back over, based on the stuff that he was doing in New Japan and sort of the Jonah thing that he had gotten over on his own, I don't watch wrestling, but when he was Jonah and overseas, he did get a lot more clout and a lot more prominent in the industry. The win over Okada increased his credibility to such a crazy amount over New Japan. Obviously, he lost the rubber match, or the rematch, but that was always going to happen. But him even having the win is crazy. I think he went like 4-2 in the G1. It was like his points were, I think he had like 8 points. So they booked him very strong there, and that was part of the reason that Triple H wanted him back so much. I could absolutely see them putting the U.S. title on him, even if it's not for a super long run. The other somewhat interesting outcome would be Damian Priest. Not that I think that he's like really compelling or even particularly good. Like he's not bad. I like Damian Priest just fine. I think he puts on like a completely fine match. I think even like his facial expressions and stuff, I feel like are pretty good. He's got a decent finisher. But putting the U.S. title on him gives some level of credibility back to Judgment Day from all the shit that they've been kind of mired in for the last little bit. So I could see them doing that. They have been trying to make him more serious lately too. But just based on everybody that's in the match, knowing that Seth Rollins is probably going to end up in a Logan Paul match that doesn't need a title to sell tickets, Austin Theory kind of had that little bump of credibility when he came back for a little bit, and now he's kind of flat again. I could absolutely see them putting this on Bronson Reed, so I'm going to go Bronson Reed.
Especially if they are going to if they actually do plan on going Austin Theory versus John Cena at WrestleMania, you don't need the title in that match either.
Though it does make it more interesting, because if he goes out and does an open U.S. title challenge, and John Cena is the one that answers it, because that used to be his whole thing, that would be cool in a callback kind of way.
But then you have to worry about John Cena defending the title.
Right, but you don't want Cena coming back, winning a championship, and then having to come back to Raw or SmackDown or whatever to defend it and lose it eventually. So they kind of puts the title in a weird spot, which is why I don't see that happening.
All right, so Ryan's got Bronson Reed. I've got Austin Theory retaining. Roman versus Sammy for the Undisputed Universal Championship is obviously the main event and the the big match that everybody's wanting to see. This obviously off the heels of Royal Rumble and the few things that they've done on SmackDown here and there. I've got Roman obviously winning. I don't think Cody beating Sammy at WrestleMania has nearly the same profile, high profile prestige behind it as beating Roman Reigns. How they get there is a different story. I don't know how they're going to get there. There's so many different ways they can do it. But I do have Roman winning and retaining.
All right. This might lose me my championship, my predictions championship. But I have Sami Zayn winning by DQ.
Nice.
Keeps the belts on
That's
Roman.
not terrible. Maybe that's why it won't go on last. If it doesn't go on last, I'm gonna be fucking shaken because I'm like, oh my god, because they're not gonna end that. They're not. I would hope not. They don't end a pay-per-view on DQ, but you never know. It is WWE.
They didn't with the Rollins thing, and that Rollins won by DQ against Reigns and never got a rematch. And I feel like it's a good way to keep the titles on him, but have Sammy come out credible in the aftermath. Like, you didn't beat me, you either cheated or you didn't let go of a hold when I was on the rope, or however. That's how they did it with Rollins. Reigns had him in some kind of submission, just would not let go even though Rollins was on the rope for more than 5 seconds, so ref DQ'd him. And I could see the same thing happen. Because having Sammy win is the pop that you want in Montreal. Having him win by DQ, so not winning the belts, it keeps some semblance of that while not fucking up your Cody story. And I could see that happening.
All right. There it is, guys. That's the prediction show. Let's recap it right quick so I can make sure I got all this right. I've got Edge and Beth Phoenix winning. Ryan's got the Judgment Day. I've got Roman winning. Ryan's got Sami Zayn winning by DQ. I mean, if he wins, he wins, so it doesn't really matter. No one's saying that. I mean, he wins the match, so you don't really have to say by DQ. But yeah, Ryan's got Sami Zayn.
That's my explanation for how they keep the title.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it why you broke it down for everybody. We both got Asuka, and Ryan has Bronson Reed, and I've got Austin Theory. I have we both have Lashley, and we both have Becky and the Legends if that match takes place as well. So we only differ on the men's elimination chamber match and the Roman Reigns match, and the Edge. We got 3 differences. Okay, there's a chance we can get some different stuff going on here. We'll see what happens. And of course, we also had to do the prediction show for Battle in the Valley, and that's the same night as Elimination Chamber, so that's going to be crazy. Sunday show is going to be fucking insane, talking about all that stuff. But yeah, hope you guys liked this prediction video. Prediction sure to be wrong, so don't bet on them. Ryan's the current champ for now. And don't forget that you can also check us out live every Sunday on Twitch. Our entire show's on there. We break up a little parts of the show and post them on here so that it's easier for you guys to consume. But there's a lot of stuff that you guys are missing as well on the show. So if you want to watch the whole show, you can catch the replay on Spotify as well. You can also listen to the audio versions on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts. And if you want to join us live, we're live on Twitch. Link will be in the description below, as long as our Spotify link and our merch link. I don't have a merch shirt on me right now. I'm actually wearing the Genius shirt, the Genius who recently passed away. And hopefully I do become the Genius by winning these 2 prediction shows with Elimination Chamber and Battle in the Valley. We'll see what happens. Hope you guys are hyped up for it. And also leave your predictions down in the comments below. We'd love to read them and respond. Thanks for all the support. Deuces!
Hey guys, did you like that video? If so, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can also catch full episodes of the MonsterCast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. And you can also catch us live every Sunday on Twitch. All links in the description below, along with some sweet merch from yours truly, the MonsterCast. Deuces.